This one's a 2008 Dodge Charger. It's got the V8 HEMI in it. Just going to show you where I put the hose to drain the coolant, and I already drained the oil out of this one. And I take the wheels off just so I can get the front end of the car down lower, and it's easier to access each side with the wheels off. I'm going to start with taking off the intake tube. The sensor on the side there. Unplug the throttle body. Get the other clamp off of here. And we'll go ahead and take the box out. Just gotta take the breather hose off, pull that thing right out of there. It's got rubber grommets that hold it in. I think I'm unplugging the injectors here. Got safety clips on them. There we go. And then this is the EGR valve. Everything has a safety clip. Super obnoxious. On the other side, doing the injectors. Taking off some of the vacuum lines. Some vacuum lines and the map sensor back there. Working on the fuel line here. Gotta have a disconnect tool. Slip it under there. It's being a pain in the butt. Just cover it with a rag, otherwise it's going to spray around. Taking out the bolts for the intake manifold. Now we're on to the other side. Here I'm taking off the tube for the EGR. Not too terrible of a location. Just pull that on out of there. Pull that sucker up. You got a little vacuum line stuck here on the back. Just got to pull that off. There we go. Alright, I'm going to unplug the fans. And then we got some bolts on the sides here. A little 10mm here. And then we've got another 10mm on the other side. Right there. This is the first one of these I've ever done, at least the V8s. I've done these with the V6 more times than I can count. But you have to take that little thermostat housing off of there to actually get the fan out, which I found out as I was trying to remove the fan assembly. We'll get to that point. Taking out the 10 mils now, and then the lower section slips into a slot to hold it. Just pull right out of it. Just kind of got to wiggle it out of there. Play around with the lines and stuff. is off of there. Just pop that guy off. And then I got all the room I need. Just comes right on out. Just like that. Gotta drain the AC out of this one, the refrigerant. These band clamps on exhausts can be a real pain in the butt. But these ones actually came out fairly easy. I've got them soaked in PB Blast, and then I like to separate them with a pry bar and just kind of hit it with a hammer, open them up. There we go. I'm just hitting the split ends of the one that goes over top, so that would be the female end. Oh, it's wiggling there. You gotta pull it downward once you get those off.
I'm behind that nut.
Nothing too crazy. The angle's kind of weird here, but we're working on getting the flange bolts off, the nuts for that downpipe.
A different size.
Oh, any day now. Get that off of there. Unplugging the O2 sensor. Back to that same old guy. Pull it downward. Don't have to push it back. And just smack that sucker with a mallet. Comes right out. Doesn't even bend it. Then we're just going to do the same thing here. We're going to unplug that O2 sensor. It comes around. It's on the bottom of the frame there. Little twisty tie. And now we're unbolting the flange. It does have that heat shield over it. Just kind of dancing around, figuring out which way I can get the fit. Here we go. And the other one. You just got to pull it down off the studs, get the mallet out. There she is. This is the starter here, and it roughs it off and then it ends up breaking. We just ended up putting a new starter on it. It's not that big of a deal. It's a warranty item, so the customer doesn't have to pay for it. You just gonna push these clips inside. These Chrysler signal wire plastic clips break all the time. Here we're working on some bell housing bolts, some starter bolts. Right. Let's move that guy out of there. Comes out real easy. This is a cover for the torque converter bolts. It's a little 10mm. And then you're in there. This has one of the dual style. So it does have one oblong hole on the pair. So it'll be the left side one, I think, in one of the pairs that is the one that you will start first so the rest line up. Kind of like how GM does. Just rotating it. I'm gonna be trying to unplug the crank sensor here. Another awesome safety clip on there. Go at this thing two-handed. Nope, looks like I'm grabbing a peg. And I'm going two-handed. Makes way more sense. There we go. Oh, and then we got the knock sensor over here. Just pull that heat shield off of there. You gotta pinch those two sides together and wiggle it off of there. Super fun. Or you could just unbolt it, whichever you prefer. There, I'm trying to explain that you squeeze it. Take these heat shields off the mounts. Just a pain in the butt to reach, and some of them don't want to turn with just your fingers, which is always a pain in the butt. Oh, here we go, here we go. And then we got to take that off to get that bracket. There is a nut on top of that stud that we'll have to take off to get the bracket off, to get the alternator off. That's what I was pointing to before. We're going to take the other heat shield off the other mount. Unplugging the other O2 sensor. I'm going to take the heat shield off the knock sensor on the driver's side. And then go ahead and unplug that. There we go. Now we've got another bolt connector here. Safety clip on it. Unplug that. There's a bell housing bolt. There's a couple of them facing that way that we'll have to remove.
That's a nut with a ground and a dipstick.
Got the trans dipstick and a ground on that one. So there's a nut on top of it. Gun was binding up, so it was pressing up against the mount, I think. Can't really see this one. Let's keep zipping them out. I was really surprised this one came out because these ones are usually a pain in the butt. Picked up with Loctite, as you can see. Jeez.
Take off that ground and the nut. I'll just bend this in. I gotta take it out because it probably piss out of there.
Pointing at the bell housing bolts that are up there. Alright, I must have taken them off and forgot to record because I'm an idiot. It's not the first time, definitely won't be the last. Unplugging some stuff here. Got temp sensor and stuff like that. Just gotta pull the harness holders off. There you go. Unplug these coils here. Just don't squeeze super hard and you'll be okay. Easy peasy. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Pop. There's the last one. I like to try and keep whatever Christmas tree harness holders I can. I'm not gonna spend forever trying to save them, but I do my best. I was undoing the alternator plug there. There's a ground connected to the back of these heads. Or maybe it's just this one. There's one on both sides here. Something's been hungry right there. Alright, just tuck that out of the way. We're going to go over here and start working on the AC lines. This one's definitely stuck in there pretty good. See if we can wiggle it. Jesus. Gonna tuck this guy out of the way. We're gonna start working on the other AC line. Just gonna wiggle and pull that one out too. Some will come out easier than others. Go ahead and take these off too. Maximum space. Need as much room as we can get. Disconnecting these hoses wasn't very fun. There's not a lot of room between there. Just gonna take the whole thing out. Just working on the heater core hoses here. Sometimes the direction that these hose clamps face is just not easy to grab, but they can't face the other way because then the intake would hit them. wiggle those off of there. I just found it easier to take the whole thing off, give myself as much room as I can get. To get that beefy motor out of there. I like to mark everything. A lot of the stuff is already worn off. So I'll mark it so I know which end goes where.
Dude, can you fucking get out of the way?
Gotta get this hose out of the way. Pull that off. Put it up top. And then we're back at it. Just trying to get the hose off of the actual aluminum piece. There she goes. Gotta take off the coolant reservoir. And we'll take that hose out with it. Get the power steering reservoir off of it. It's just got a little tab. Just slide it out of there. Little tab you press over. Just putting that there so it soaks it up. I'm not worried about anything going down in there because this motor is bad anyways. Take that hose under the AC line. You can disconnect it from the reservoir if you want to, it doesn't matter. Looking at the alternator bracket here and then the alternator bolt. Yeah, and then there's the other side here. We'll work on that studded nut, that studded bolt. It's actually to the mount. Wowzers. And these two actually hold the alternator. Then we'll just pull a little bracket out. There we go. And there's still one up top that we'll have to get. pressure switch there. At least I think that's what it was.
It's a truck motor I'm putting in.
There's a plug in there that needs to be unplugged as well. Working on the lead coming off of the alternator. Any day now. And we get the plug out. There we go. This is the top bolt. Holding the alternator while I'm taking out that bolt, otherwise it's just going to want to drop straight down. She's heavy. Girl is super light. Bolt, and you can weasel that thing out through the top. Easy peasy.
It's got a red.
And here's your other plug down here. It's tucked in there. And now I'm pulling the harness off of the studs for the valve cover and stuff. There we go. Pain in the butt. One of these days. So we're gonna start on the power steering pump here. All the bolts come in from the front. If I remember correctly, there's a hole in the front of the pulley so you can access your bolts. Just gonna tuck that thing right out of the way. Not even gonna disconnect it. These mount studs are always a pain in the butt, but you can just take it off from the side if you want to, if you don't want to mess with these. They like to break and stuff, but one of the mounts was already bad, so it was getting replaced anyways. These E-torques are always like snapping off at the end anyways. And here's the one where we're gonna take it off from the side. If those studs are stuck in the bottom of the mount like this one is, it's really hard to get it to want to come forward and up that high at the same time to come out of that tubular frame piece. So it's easiest just to take them off from the side and then take the mount out after the engine's out of the way. If I wasn't removing the motor and I had to do that, I would saw that friggin' stud right off of there.
Let's take this guy out.
Take that bolt off. I'll be taking off this lower radiator hose. Just gotta work that pick in there sometimes just to get it loose and just wiggle the hose off. Always more of a mess to be made. Take the cowl off, it gives you a ton of room, super worth it. Just gotta take the wipers off and then you'll have to take that strut tower brace off as well. Work smart, not hard, they say. Just popping out clips and stuff. I got a special tool that keeps those Christmas tree ones from breaking every time. It can't save them all, but it does keep majority of them from breaking. Special tools are cool to have anyways. They have like a special twisting, locking clip on the end there up towards the top. It's kind of strange. It does like a half turn or a quarter turn or something to unlock. And it comes right out. You just gotta pull up on it. It does have a seal piece, snaps down inside that windshield. Sometimes these strut tower bolts break too. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. So you have the wiper motor on this strut tower there as well, and then that's part of the harness someone was working on pulling off there, but that little tab by my hand has a bushing for the motor, the wiper motor. And here we're going to be using that tool again to pull the harness off. This is a big metal bracket that is held on to some bolts that have studs, so there's 13 mil nuts holding that bracket on to hold the harness over the bell housing. Gonna take those nuts off now. There's just two, one on each side, and then that thing will pull right out of there. Just pull that guy on out of there. I think I might have taken a bolt out of the timing cover or something for that one on the right. And then those are just into the intake bolt holes. We're going to work on some bell housing bolts. Moving the fuel line out of the way so I can reach the other one. Nothing's ever easy. I'm just trying not to put too much tension on it with the cherry picker. Here's the bell housing bolts that I was working on. Just a different angle. Rip that guy out of there. And then you just start pulling her out. You just got to be careful and make sure you're not too close to the radiator. Make sure you're not pulling the harness on the passenger side. It does like to get stuck to those studded valve cover bolts. Sometimes you just got to play around and make sure you don't have anything stuck to it. Tuck stuff out of the way. It's kind of what I'm doing here. Maybe I must have forgot a ground wire or something, it appears. Every now and again. Oh, okay, I was taking the AC line off just to give me more room. It's a nice view. Messing with the mount here. Double checking everything again. It's not about speed. It's just about making sure you're not breaking everything as you come out. Go up a little at a time, just keep peeking at both sides. Make sure you give it a little wiggle here and there. Make sure nothing's getting caught up. I think I'm just pulling. You got a big bulk harness on the passenger side. I'm just trying to keep out of the way. Check this side again, make sure I didn't grab hold of anything. And then we're back at it again. Just kind of turn it sideways here, pull it over. And upsy daisy. It's like to double check things. You rip a wire out once, you don't really like doing it again. Been there, done that. This wasn't a bad job at all. I actually kind of enjoyed it. And that was it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I actually replaced it with the motor that came out of like either a Jeep or a truck. I had to swap over the timing cover, the oil pan, all kinds of different stuff. It's a fun job, and I don't look forward to doing another one. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it.
Just gonna take this out and push this over to the side so you can turn it.